And Sri, appreciate you coming on the program. It's actually some of your own work and your research that I've been reading in the last couple of weeks that got me here. Those arguments that I kind of laid out were some of the points that you have made as well. If you were to point out the risks to this winter and how we got here, what would you say?
Well, thank you, Brian. Those are some very good points there. As you say, weather has been quite key and it will be for the next 6 to 7 months. This is going to be a key driver for inflation, not just for the UK, but across many countries. So first of all, we've had the demand side of the issue with weather, where we had very poor winter in Europe last year. We had a hot summer in the US and Canada this year. We had stockpiling by some Asia countries as well for gas storage. And also this comes at a time when industrial production has been picking up and industrial activity has been picking up and economies have been reopening. So the demand side of the story has been quite strong. But as you say, the weather has affected supply as well. So it's been very intermittent across the solar and hydro backdrop, and that's led to a reliance on natural gas prices. But this is a seasonal story. There's also a longer-term structural story here as well, which has led to tight energy markets. And that's really the climate change, regulatory change, and this process of decarbonization has been a long-run trend for many countries, leading to the current shortages that we're seeing at the moment.
And that is the reason that we are here, Sri. And that we care about the UK. We care about all of our friends and viewers here. Certainly in continental Europe, it could be a very dangerous winter for many people, particularly lower income ones that simply cannot afford to pay their bills. But to your point, this is a structural story. The United States, states like California, are undergoing these incredible and incredibly important, by the way, long-term shifts. But there is a lesson here, which is that the transition has to be done smartly and carefully, does it not?
Exactly right. That's right. What we're seeing is a situation where there are very few options for substituting away from different types of energy sources. And there are some countries that are very dependent on one particular type or not. Some are dependent on nuclear, some on gas, etc. So it really depends on the country here. But what we've seen is a drawdown in gas inventories across Europe, and obviously you've already mentioned the UK. That switching across and substituting between energy sources has been very difficult. So switching between gas and coal has been very difficult. Now, part of this is because obviously the decarbonisation process has led to an underinvestment in coal. Coal mines have closed across China, and China has been one of the key drivers behind this increase in natural gas and liquid natural gas demand as well, because they have been trying to switch households and factories away from dependency on coal towards natural gas. And this is a very slow process. Obviously, this winter does lead to the issue of some price spikes. China is one of those markets that countries that has been, rather than having long-term contracts, they have been dipping into the spot markets. And that's been pushing up prices across gas and coal and the overall general complex. But yes, there is a story of underinvestment here.
And it goes into the long-term global inflation story. Again, a lot of our viewers in the U.S. right now may be waking up and saying, well, I worry because I've got friends or family over there, but how does this impact us? It impacts everybody because energy is not simply a regional story. China's buying a lot of liquefied natural gas, which is great, except that takes some of the supplies away from Europe, which means they've got to buy more coal, which means they take it away from India, which relies on coal as much as any other country in the world outside of China, which means U.S. producers could make some money if we could export it, but inflation becomes a global phenomenon. It is all connected.
It is indeed. And also there are some connections here with the supply chain stories or transportation of fuels. That's all feeding into this story. So it does seem that over the next 6 to 7 months, these energy price rises, along with other drivers such as supply chains and transport prices, these energy prices are going to be fueling headline inflation numbers across a number of different countries. And then on top of that, if we do get a cold snap across Europe or the Northern Hemisphere winter months, we do get a cold snap, then that will lead to greater volatility in energy prices and potential price spikes that then feed into further inflation. But again, this varies across country. This is something we've been looking into in a lot of detail, looking at country by country, energy sources, what are they using? What are the retail price caps? What are the timings of those? How much is actually passed through to consumers? Because consumers are protected to some extent. But the flip side of that is that then the producers are impacted. And we're seeing this, as you mentioned, in the UK, some of the power producers have gone under. In China, they've been power rationing as well. So there is an impact on not just inflation, but actual activity over the coming months.